Good afternoon. I'm Sarah Sobota with the Edwards College, and today I have with me Jimmy Lawler, who is a senior history major who has done some great things in just the last couple months. And so we wanted to get with him today to talk about his program and his accomplishments and his experience at CCU. So good afternoon, Jimmy.
Good afternoon. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, so can you just tell us a little bit about your background, kind of where you are now and where you're headed?
Sure. I'm a senior history major. I'm from Londonderry, New Hampshire originally, but my mother moved down here to Myrtle after my freshman year, so I kind of go between both places now. Um, yeah, so like ever since I was growing up, I always knew I liked history. I was always into, all the shows and stuff like that and just learning about it. And for me, history is about kind of putting yourself in the place of the people you're learning about, all the conditions they were in, all the opinions that they might have had at that time, and just try to empathize and see how people feel and how they were living back then. So that's always what it's been for me.
So it's a lot more than memorizing facts and dates.
Yes, it is for me anyway.
Great. And what has your journey through Coastal been like? Did you have favorite classes or experiences that you'll remember that seem to, be significant for you?
Yeah, so I actually, I was lucky enough to be admitted into the Edwards College Research Fellows program. So through that, I worked with Dr. Barnes, and we just did a lot of, I did a project last semester on King James and the Duke of Buckingham and the crazy stuff that they did together. But in that, I just really learned how to research, how to just go over data, and how to express that, I guess, well in an essay. And then, there are classes that I really like too. I mentioned how I like putting myself into how people were back then. And there were some classes where we would have role-playing games. Dr. Bryan gave us one about the cholera outbreak in London, and I had to be the guy who still believed in the four humors and like the ancient Greece idea of medicine and getting sick and stuff. And I had to try to argue that against actual science. So that was pretty fun to look into their point of view,
Yeah, that's
stuff like that.
fantastic. And then you recently wrote a paper that won an award. Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, so for my fellows project in the fall, I told Dr. Nance I wanted to go to law school, and he said, "Well, the habeas corpus, I don't know too much about it yet, but I heard it was a pretty crazy story back then." And I was thinking, oh, I'll do it. It'll probably help me out. Might be a little dry with the legal history and stuff, but then I started researching it, and it's kind of playing out like a movie. I was looking over court cases and the kings coming in and just crushing guys and throwing them in jail, and it's just crazy stuff that was going on. So I actually enjoyed researching it and writing it.
Okay. And what was the title of the paper, and where did you present it, or where did you submit it?
Yeah, so it was habeas corpus in Stuart England and common law. And I started with King James and just kind of how the writ of habeas corpus developed as people found new ways to trample on that liberty, and they had to
Okay.
keep reforming it. And whoever was in power, the bad guys changed and the good guys changed constantly. So that was very interesting. Yeah, so we were going to have that Phi Alpha Theta conference. Of course, that along with everything else got canceled. But we had already submitted our papers, and Dr. Navin emailed me and said, they were still going to look over everything. And I said, okay, great. And they ended up picking a top three, and
So they picked a top three, and yours?
it was in the top three. So I'm pretty happy with that. It made my week.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I'm sure that your professors are proud of you also.
Yeah, they were all emailing me, congratulating me. So that was nice to hear. And
That's
I'm very
great.
appreciative to them of, the guidance that they gave me over the years too, on just how to
Yeah,
conduct a
that's
history
great.
piece.
Um, and then you also have big plans coming up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'll be attending Syracuse Law next year.
Wow.
They made me a good offer, and it just really validates all the hard work I feel like I put in here. So,
Yeah. So, what are some things that you learned through the history program and your experiences that you feel will have prepared you? What kinds of things will you be using when you go into law school that you learned through Coastal?
I think a lot of history is to look at the evidence, right, and formulate an opinion based on that, and to call upon the evidence that you've picked up and express that and articulate that in a way that can get over to the people that are reading. And I think the same thought process is that's what they do in law. So I think that the entire discipline of history really just taught me how to think a certain way, and I think that puts me in a great position to succeed in Syracuse Law next year. What the department's taught me.
Great. And then, if I were a incoming CCU freshman who had either declared or was thinking about declaring history, what kind of advice would you give me?
Just have fun with it. Study what you want to study. I would encourage you to build relationships with your professors. There's some great people that are willing to help you, willing to teach you a lot of worthwhile things if you show that you put in the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much what I would say.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, I really appreciate you taking time to sort of share your experience with us and lend your knowledge to current and future students. So thanks very much and best of luck to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.